On this episode, Dude, Brett, and Tyler get together to drink some single barrels and discuss Tyler's latest travels to Kentucky and Michigan. Find out what they have and how they rank them on this episode of the Bourbon Hunters. But before we get started, do you want to support our podcast? Do you like bourbon gear? Visit our website at www.bourbonhunters.com to buy some of our custom bourbon gear and support the podcast. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us on our hunt for great bourbon. Reward yourself and sit back, grab a pour, kick up your feet, and enjoy. Welcome to another episode of the Bourbon Hunters. I'm Dude Cole. I'm joined by
Brett Bryan
and
Tyler Schaefer.
Dramatic pause. Already on his phone, distracted, and we haven't even started yet. That's the best part. And he looks up at me with a smile on his face. Tyler Schaefer. And he was already in his phone. All right. Today we've got a little bit of a hodgepodge. We got the fam back together again, so we're gonna just kind of catch up, drink a hodgepodge of stuff, and compare it to some different things. So today we've got a single barrel that Tyler found at the Four Roses Distillery. It's a single barrel strength.
Super pumped for that.
And it's OBSF. And then we also have a Russell's Reserve Camp Nelson F?
B.
Camp Nelson B. That Tyler found for Brett at Justin's House of Bourbon. And then today we also received a sample bottle from Old Elk of their latest cigar cut. So that'll be what we finish with. But in the meantime, we're also going to use our little tasting kit from Four Roses to compare to Tyler's single barrel strength.
Do you want to start with that? We'll do...
what's the Russell's 114 or 114?
I think they're all like one. Are they all 113 or 114? 110. I'm sorry.
So that's higher than the...
Yours is what?
108.
And then I think these are all... We're all 107, right?
No, I thought they were all 100. Aren't they all 50? Maybe I'm misremembering.
Maybe. I can't read that because it's too small. I
think it says 100 proof from all the way back here.
Right there. What's that say?
104.
Okay, 104. So it's close. So they'll actually be pretty close.
Yeah.
And then we'll finish with the Old Elk. So
yeah.
That's a finished bourbon anyway.
Yeah, let's start with the
Four Roses. All right.
The barrel strength or
this one?
I was going to say tasting kit too.
Yeah. All right, give me your glasses, guys. So, Tyler, I kind of mentioned a little bit of what you've been up to, but what have you been up to?
Let's see. Since I was last on, I'll just talk about my trip to Kentucky. It was a little bit of a midweek trip. Jillian was flying back from a work trip. She flew into Lexington. She has a work friend that lives in Lexington and has a
Lexington's a great city, by the way.
An esthetician.
It's a good college town.
Yeah,
I think
business there. So I drove down. Dropped the kids off, drove down, and went immediately to Buffalo Trace. And I got there maybe 12-ish, and they had Blands.
That's amazing they had it that late in the day still.
Yeah, and they had a ton of it. They were still bringing it out. A couple of cool things. I don't know if they did this or I'll keep going. I forgot which letter that I was still missing, and I think I grabbed the right one.
Nice.
So that's nice. I still haven't looked, but I had one duplicate, which now my brother has never had a bottle, so I'm just going to give him a bottle for his wedding.
I have like 3 of the N with a colon on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from there, I went upstairs, and Buffalo Trace has something new that I don't really know the point of it. But you can schedule a tasting up in the rooms, right, upstairs. And from the bottles that I saw that were out, they were doing, I think, Buffalo Trace, Eagle Rare, Blanton's. I don't know if they were doing Sazerac. I can't remember. But and then Wheatley Vodka, which they always do.
What about the bourbon cream?
I'm sure. I just don't know if they were doing the Sazerac. So
Well, I've seen it a few times where it's been one of the higher end things. I've never seen Blanton's on there.
Yes.
It's usually Buffalo Trace and Eagle Rare.
Yeah.
And then when I see something in addition to that, generally it's like Weller, William LaRue Weller.
Oh, wow.
Or what was it the day we went?
E.H. Taylor.
E.H. Taylor,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So I've seen E.H. Taylor there. I've never seen Blanton's. That doesn't mean that
Sure.
they didn't do it or anything, but I just had never seen it.
So I go upstairs, and they have a couple of bars upstairs now.
Yeah.
Just not in rooms.
Well, they were there
there's
before, like back.
maybe groups.
But you remember when you first used to go up there before they expanded that big long
Yeah.
area, and then the rooms are off to the right as
Yeah.
you're looking back. Before that, around in a like circular fashion, there was bars, and you see it in the Neat documentary when,
Yeah.
when Eddie.
Maybe they're
when
the
Freddie's-
same.
when Freddie's doing his thing.
Maybe they're the same ones that were there. But
I don't know.
I had to wait in about a 5-minute line.
Not awful.
Yeah.
Do they do a little dog
They-
and pony, or do they just pour it out and let you taste it?
Well, so they scan, and you can only do either the bar or you can go and
The Taste of
do
Trace.
your Taste of Trace. So we go up there, and it was like they had mentioned that it was basically their rye heavy mash bill. I don't know if that was planned, but they did the Wheatley vodka, they did Buffalo Trace, they did Blanton's, and then they did Sazerac. And then from there, they also did the root beer float.
so you didn't get Eagle Rare.
No,
So you have Blanton's, Buffalo Trace, Sazerac Rye, and then the Bourbon Cream.
correct. And the Wheatley was first.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah.
Wheatley
They
vodka.
generally start with that.
And it was like she talked about them for like 2 seconds as she's pouring it out, but it was like boom, 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 5 minutes, and you're done.
Yeah.
And you can just walk away. There's no like anything else. I honestly I didn't think that it was really anything different than
Well, so I could see the difference being if you wanted to start your experience by just tasting a few things.
sure.
The Taste of Trace, you get a little bit of information. They give you some
Yeah.
history, what it takes to be a bourbon, that kind of shit that every place gives. So that's kind of neat if you have almost like an
Yeah.
express way to do a tasting,
Yeah,
and then maybe
that's-
go downstairs and buy something.
Yeah. Maybe that's what I thought it was.
Did
like-
they have Sazerac downstairs when you were there
Yeah.
that day
Yep.
to buy?
Yeah.
So they had Sazerac and blends. Maybe it's based off of what's
Whatever
available
they have.
downstairs.
Yeah, because
Good
when
point.
I came back the next day, I did not look what was upstairs.
That would have been
Yeah.
interesting to see. And what did they have the next day there?
Weller Special
Special
Reserve.
Reserve.
I was like, damn, it's the one thing I hope that they didn't have. And I honestly, so Jillian came with me that time, and I was like, trying to show her, and I'm like, don't you love the smell of this place? She's like, no. She's like,
Trina loves it.
yeah, and I'm like, she's like, I don't like the smell of bourbon. I'm like, it doesn't smell like bourbon. It smells
Yeah,
like a
it's
freaking bakery.
like a
She's
bakery,
like,
yeah.
don't like,
like a rye heavy
Exactly.
sourdough type of
it. Yeah.
bakery. Yeah.
So she didn't like it.
Yeah, Trina and I both.
we
love
walked
it.
in there, and so I was like, fuck. And so she's like, oh, you're not going to actually get anything now. And I'm like, no, bummer. But I ended up getting a Kenzie Dram. And then also I got just a single root beer. I was like, that sounds
The
real
Freddy's root
fucking
beer?
good. Yeah.
I love the Freddy's root beer.
Yeah.
I just like root beer in general.
Yeah.
I'm
And
not
we,
a root beer
I know
we
you're
were
not. I know
we
you're
were in a little bit of a rush to get back, so I didn't really want to like take a bunch of time.
Yeah.
But that was on the last day. Now, so from Buffalo Trace on the first day, I went down to Woodford. Their times online said they opened up at 1
something,
o'clock,
yeah, 1.
and they had been open since 9. And so they had their Sonoma triple finished Master Distiller collection.
And it released that day, actually, by
Yes.
email. I sent you the
Yeah.
email about that.
Yeah, we had talked. It was funny.
Because in years past, they had always released the email like
A week ahead of
upcoming,
time.
like, and remember when we went down, we went to the burger place, and then we went to Woodford. They didn't have it yet. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, we were expecting it today, but it didn't come out. We drove to Bardstown, got the email, and drove all the way back.
So the email literally came in that morning, and I was like, "Fuck yes!" Now it was a higher price point. It was $150.
Have you had it yet?
No, I have not. Jason said they're just putting out a lot of young stuff. Said it was
Yeah.
okay. It might be that, or I have still not opened the 5 malt.
I like that one. Okay, it opened up to me the
Yeah.
more like the first drink I had of it. I thought it was terrible.
It might be my secret. One of those might be my Secret Santa bottle for
Oh,
the year because
yeah.
I don't have anything.
Someone
and I was like,
will probably do.
and I was like, I'd probably get something in return for $150
Yeah.
that I enjoy. So
if you don't use that, it wouldn't be bad to maybe do a couple of those on a show. Like, because I've still got a very fine rare and some stuff we could do. I think the one thing Jason's not a big fan of from Woodford is that they're always 90.4, unless it's their barrel strength or whatever it is.
And I've heard their new barrel strength is supposed to be great.
Really?
Yeah, but you never know.
Yeah.
So from there, I went down, picked up Jillian. She napped, and I walked to Justin's House of Bourbon. And I don't know if you've been to the Lexington location.
I have not.
There's a gentleman named Scotty who was there. And it's much better than the Louisville location, in my opinion, because their shelfers that they have there at like MSRP are pretty damn close to it.
Well, I
were
wonder,
like plentiful, and they had a couple of barrel picks, including
that's one thing they've always had is like Nulu picks and different things like that. I wonder though, since they're the thing that went down with the whole fake Blantons and all that stuff. Yeah. I never even heard what happened with all that.
They cleared 2 locations. I think one is still under investigation.
But I wonder if now they have to be a little more like with MSRP bottles and stuff like that, just to try to get people back. I wonder if that's maybe their new, and maybe the Louisville has that too.
Remember how, and he also did say the bar in Louisville has a lot more. They did a lot more cocktail things at that bar. And you remember how you walked in and they just had like a shit ton of like Weller Antique and Foolproof and all that just sitting on the shelf, but for crazy prices.
I don't remember when you first walk in what was on the left and right. I just remember about halfway back there was a bar, and then down the right hand wall, like there was just a whole bunch of different things.
But then they had the
crazy prices.
Then they had the history. Rare stuff in there. Now, there's a separate room where they kind of have this, and that's where you get the more expensive stuff. But they didn't really have anything expensive like sitting out.
Yeah.
They did have a speakeasy room, and actually it was even cooler because it was like a door versus like it was like a speakeasy door like yours versus I thought the other location was like a sliding door. And maybe they had a second entrance.
They had 2 entrances. One in the hallway that's a regular door.
And maybe that's just
and then the one that's
you're right. We have a freaking video of it. Yeah.
It's just like this one.
So that was cool. And that whole room had a bunch of stuff and it was really nice. And the bar, they had some really, really awesome stuff priced at really, really great prices. And so I got, along with a couple of other things, but I got Wild Turkey Kentucky Rare Breed from 2003, and that was $25 a pour. And I was like,
oh, I thought you were talking about bottles. I'm like,
I know, right?
And then
I was
you
like,
said
damn.
a pour. I was like, oh, okay,
no,
okay.
$25 a pour, which was fantastic for that. And that was actually before they changed the entry proof. So they used to have a different entry proof on that bottle, and that was previous to that. So
that's cool.
Then the next day.
So is it Campari that owns Wild Turkey?
I'm not sure.
I'm sure once it's probably before they got bought by them, and then because most places that's the first thing they'll do.
While we do this, then
let's nose this thing.
So the second day, I dropped Jillian off to her friend's place. I went out to Four Roses, grabbed this bottle. It was really, really shocked. They had said that they put it out the week before. And there was still some left. Wild Turkey didn't have anything, but I did talk to Bo and tried their Voyager, which I really liked for a rum finish. I'm not a big rum finish fan, but it was like a deep molasses finish on that. But nothing that I bought there outside of a drink. And then I just drove back. So I went to those 2 places and drove back.
That's cool.
And then Buffalo Trace later. But yeah.
So let's nose this. So this is OBSF. This is the recipe, and this is from the tasting kit. So we've already done this one a couple episodes ago, but it's just kind of a level setter and a primer, I guess, because we didn't even do a primer today.
No.
I'm sorry, guys.
That's all right.
I let you down. And
this will be a primer. We have enough.
There's a little bit in here. So the F generally means like an herbal. The B is the high rye. So this is the high rye herbal version of the mash bill. So of their 10 recipes, that's what this is. So what do you get on the nose? I do feel like there's some definite like earthy tones on the nose.
Yeah, earthy.
And so
Smell
have you had your OBSF yet?
I did.
Looks like it's
And
been
you like
opened,
it?
yeah.
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 Especially for the first crack in it too.
Yeah. So for the hymen pour.
Yeah.
It's a new phrase.
That's the new phrase. You missed it last week. So there was a video going around from Bourbon Pursuit or whatever. They were interviewing people at.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Well, they did multiples. The one we were laughing at was they were saying, "What's the most annoying thing or phrase in bourbon?" And a couple people said "smooth." Couple, and I think I think you sent it maybe, and then a couple other people said neck pour.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I mean, let's find a better phrase for it then. And then that's when I think Jason said hymen pour.
I think I said it.
You might. Was it
yeah,
you?
me,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm the medical person. Who else is going to say hymen?
I don't know. I mean, breaking the hymen, busting the hymen. What are you? That was a funny name. You know how they had the Seymour Butts and the Mike Hawk and the Mike Hunt, and that was another one. It was Buster Hyman.
Yeah, I remember that. Buster Hyman, yeah.
That was always a good one. All right, what do you guys get? This definitely, I know it's my first drink of the day.
For being first drink of the day,
I get rye spice for sure.
that's awesome.
I definitely get the rye spice. There's definitely like an herbal.
There's that minty.
Yeah, mint.
That minty.
Almost
That
like a minty.
but there's also some fruit element to it as well. Maybe some stone fruit.
And the minty to me hits me on the back, like in the finish.
Yeah.
It's almost like that second bloom of the finish. It's where the mint hits me.
Yeah.
There's almost like a tea in there as well, like an herbal tea.
Yeah. No, like green tea or something.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that too. But that all falls in line with kind of like an herbal, characteristic. So that's good. I like this. I'm not going to finish this because this is the last of that one sample. Even though I have a whole nother kit back there, I don't want to break into it if I don't.
Yeah, I
have
don't
to.
blame you.
Right, like that last little sip is what you're saying?
Yeah, so I'm going
Oh, no.
to compare to yours
Nice.
and then go back to it possibly.
Yeah, I might do that little teeny bit and do the same.
So let me get a little drink of water. If you want to do the honors of pouring since it's yours.
And before I pour and kind of go into this,
This is a Brent Elliott pick.
It is a Brent Elliott pick. It is 11 years and 2 months
Wow.
old. So
And lower on the Rick, right? Like
yes.
So
I think
that's
it's a
So it's an OBSF, which is their 35% rye mash bill, bottled in June of this year. 54.4 percent alcohol.
So we're moving up basically 4 proof points here.
Yep. Warehouse VW. I don't know the significance of that.
It's their Volkswagen one, warehouse.
Or fake
The
emissions.
German one.
The fake emissions, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a turbo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot
So
about
the proof is wrong.
It's
how
actually-
funny would
it's
that
actually
be?
102.
Yeah. How fucking funny would that be if it's they make the proof up.
Right. Everything from their VW warehouse, they make up the
made
proof.
up.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I had to buy all those back.
Yep.
Well, they didn't know. They didn't have. They offered to. You didn't have to.
Oh, I thought
a lot
they
of
had to.
because they became something people were trying to find.
Well, I'm sure.
A sales guy I was working with, he had a Porsche, which was that same.
Yeah.
It was a Porsche Cayenne. Those are the SUV ones,
SUVs,
right?
yep.
Yeah. So and it was it was diesel, right? Diesel
Yep,
turbo,
diesel.
and he went on the search for one. He had a Google alert set up for the New York area, and as soon as he found one, snagged it.
It's funny.
Yeah.
So like people were really trying to find those because it was actually not that inaccurate. What they didn't say in there was that you had to like put in like a into your engine every so often, like a diesel primer type thing or something that like made it. I don't know the.
Yeah, there's
I'm
a
not
thing called DEF fluid, but anyway.
But that's what they didn't mention on there. Oh, I like these pours.
I'll give you a solidly hefty pour of these.
I don't need a crazy habit. Yeah, that's fine.
No,
that's plenty.
that's like
Dude, hit me.
that's like a primer pour.
And then also, this is barrel 8 1T.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
So, I think this is tier 1, which I believe you know a little bit more about the tiers and how they're rated.
That's
well,
the
just
bottom
how it
of the Rick
affects
House.
how that affects things. So, what did you say? 1T is that what it is?
8 1T.
8 1T.
8 1T.
Where's is it 8 then space?
It's right in front of you.
It is B-1T.
That's B.
It is?
I think it's a B.
It looks like an 8 to me.
No, it's a B. It might be an 8.
I can't tell either way.
I can't see
But I think
anything.
1T means like the floor in the rick house. Because remember the one
It's
that
probably
dude
like
got
a row. And
that was like a 6T and it drank kind of hot.
Yeah.
And Jason was saying that's the top warehouse. And then the one you and I got was a 1T that was in the bottom, and we liked that taste profile better.
Yeah. So the way it works is the Rick number is the first number. So that 8 is the Rick number. The warehouse number is the first letter, so VW. Side of the warehouse is the W. So VW is the, I don't know what those mean, but V is the warehouse number, W is the side of the warehouse. Rick number is the first number, so the 8 is the Rick number. So there's a warehouse number, then a Rick number. So it's Rick upon which the barrel was stored in the warehouse. And then the last one is the tier number. So the 1, tier of the Rick upon which the barrel was stored in the house. And then the last thing, that T is the position. It says number, but position letter apparently. So the first barrel in the warehouse is listed as A, the second is B, etc. So yeah, first floor, so that's good in the sense that generally speaking, the lower it is, the cooler the rick is.
Yeah.
So like if you've ever been in a rick house, like near the bottom, there's usually like even it goes down into the ground, and that's like covered with gravel, and it's really cool down there because they're allowing some of that natural cooling of the earth to come up into the rick house. But the tops of the rick houses are really, really hot.
Sure.
And so a lot of times when you're in those really, really hot areas, what you get is the evaporation of the water. So at the very top, the water evaporates because it's so hot, and then the alcohol becomes a higher proof.
Sure.
Is what generally happens. And then in the lower rick houses, the alcohol evaporates because the evaporation point of alcohol is lower than water. So you end up getting in the cooler levels, you end up having the proof drop, which is probably why this is a 108 or whatever it is, 108.2 or something, 108.4 something. 108.8 is that what it is? 54.4. Yeah. Okay, I didn't remember what you said, but
This smells. It smells rich. Does that make sense? Like,
well, it's 11 years old, so I mean, and it's barrel strength,
Yeah.
so it should be rich at 11 years old. We should be, and the good thing about so back to the aging process. So the good thing about a lower tier and an older barrel is that you're probably, since it's cooler, the elements are not going to affect it as much because the temperature is a lot more stable at the bottom of the rick house. So it's not going to breathe into the barrel as much as it would at the top, where you have those extreme heats and those extreme colds.
Like if you had an 11-year from up there,
it would probably be
hot.
it would be hot, and it would also probably be very oaky.
Yeah.
This should be just the right amount of oak, in my opinion. I'm guessing. I haven't smelled it yet. I haven't done anything with it yet. Because I'm taking you guys to school, so it's like, just kidding. But no, I mean, honestly, I imagine if I had to guess, this is going to be rich, it's going to be oaky, but not over oaky, and it's going to be, I would say, probably a pretty balanced, pour.
Yeah.
So
I took a sip. I'm sorry.
well, I don't blame you. I was blabbering on.
I get a nice cherry nose to it.
Maybe that's like the richness that I'm picking out as like a maraschino or Luxardo cherry. Like
I definitely get a little bit of baking spice on the nose, and I think get some sort of dark fruit. Like
It's a great nose, though.
It is. Oh, there was some oak right there. I got some oak on the nose. Nothing crazy, but just a little bit.
I'm gonna wait until you guys drink before I say this because I don't want to like
Influence us.
correct.
You already have your thoughts, so I definitely get a very, very slight tannic finish.
Yeah.
It's a little drying, but not over drying. But it's followed up by like my mouth actually waters afterwards.
Yeah. Speaking of a tannic finish, while we're sipping on this, JD and I, when we were up in Michigan, he brought a blind from his next door neighbor. It was an old Carter that he had in there. There was maybe a 2018 George T. Stagg, and then a Lux Row 12 with actually, I think he said it was 14-year-old barrels in there.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
Which was fantastic. The worst one was the George T. Stagg, and it was so fucking dry. Like, I don't know how to...
Did it have an age statement?
I forget, but it was like... Yeah, like... It
like
just,
you were sucking on wood.
Yes, like it just dried your mouth out like this.
Yeah.
It just it was. I was like, I do not like this.
So I'm going to take another sip real quick. I did get a little bit of an oak, which I don't have a problem with oak as long as it's not over tannic and just drying out your mouth.
Proof's
not awful.
No, the proof's fine. Proof's fine. That's actually a good place for, I think, a proof. I like those 107s, 108s right in there. That's fine.
So for me...
Bubblegum?
No. I feel like I'm chewing on a mint leaf. That same mint.
I get a little bit of mint, but then at the end, like, so the last one we did, the mint came up in like the second wave, like the breath coming, like at the bloom of the finish. This one I'm getting like a bubblegum bloom at the very end.
I'm getting that same mint that I got on the the original sample recipe thing.
Yeah. I get that, but I'm getting it more mid-tongue.
Yeah, I feel like I'm chewing on a mint leaf right now.
Is that something you're upset about?
I don't love mint, I'll be honest with you.
I like it in certain scenarios. Hate it in ice cream.
Agree.
Can't stand it.
I mean, I like it in my toothpaste. Like that's refreshing.
Yeah, sure.
And like gum, obviously.
And gum, yeah.
But to me, it doesn't cross over into food products.
The candies that you get after dinner.
Yeah,
I'm okay with those.
Yeah.
But like a mint chocolate, like they give out at Olive Garden.
Like the
Andes.
I can't stand those. Like everyone loves those.
I'm gonna save that. That last little drip and come back to it. I think it's fantastic, but it might be more of an acquired.
I'm starting to get the mint.
I'll be honest,
but I do still get a little bit of bubblegum at the very end of the finish.
Yeah.
Very end of the finish.
Yeah.
this has been one of the yeast strains that I don't particularly care for from Four Roses.
Yeah, it's probably my least favorite too. The mint or the herbal, I should say.
And I mean, this is really surprising because this is a Brent Elliott pick. So I guess I didn't know what to expect.
But he might like.
He might love
stuff.
that. Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he has favorite. He probably has favorite flavor profiles within each recipe.
This could be his favorite OBSF. You know what I mean? Like he could have found this and be like, "This is the best OBSF."
As a distiller, you might really like some of those things that
Other
make
people don't.
well, not even that, but that make it stand out from the other recipes.
Yeah, to be unique.
Okay, this is exactly what the OBSF exemplifies. Like it brings out the mintiness and it brings out, and the age. Oh, it's a little bit interesting because the age brings out a little bit of oak. Did you go back to the old one?
I did. There's more oak coming through on the original one, which is interesting. And I would love to know the age statement on those little samples because it's not in there.
I don't think it said.
It's not, no. More oak is coming through. And I think tannic is a good word that you said earlier. More oak, more tannic. This is almost something that, like, gosh, do you pair it with a cigar? I mean, I'm not a cigar smoker. I don't know, but it's dry.
It's not really a dessert bourbon that you would pair.
No, it's too dry for that, I think.
Yeah.
Not that it's dry like in a bad way, but it's not dry in a like great way either. It's just dry. It's a little dry. And I think it's supposed to be. I think that's but you're right. I went back to that and I do get a little bit of more.
You got more oak on that now?
I got more oak than I did the first time drinking that sample.
Same, yes.
Not necessarily more than this one, I don't think.
I would agree with that statement, yes. I mean, when I went back to it, I got more oak than I did the first time having it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I don't think it's more oak than the new sample that we have here.
Correct. I feel the same way.
But it's interesting how that affects stuff, right? I mean, for one, that was our first drink of the night, too. This is our second, and now I think, like, after having this, it kind of brought out some other tastes in that other one. They're the same recipe.
Yeah, I'm going to leave a little bit, too, and then come back to it and kind of see how I feel in a moment.
What's that third one like to you?
Better. A little more cherry. It's really starting to open up to me now.
The more I had of it the other night, I mean, not that I had a ton of it, but the first I was like, this is is pretty good. And then the second, I was like, whoa. And third and fourth, I was like,
to be fair, I think any of the Fs that I have are probably my least favorite of the barrel strengths. However, I still enjoy them.
yeah.
I don't know that I've had a Four Roses single barrel strength that I haven't enjoyed.
I want to say,
you know,
the
yeah, I agree.
The OBSK is one that I really, really like, and then the OESV maybe. I know one of the E's and the SK, the OBSK is also some recipes that I've really, really enjoyed.
Yeah.
The one that we got at Four Roses, everyone else got this same recipe, and you and I got a different recipe.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but I love that Four Roses. That one's fantastic.
That was the...
I can't remember.
And am I wrong that I thought that Jason doesn't like the OBSF because it's minty as well?
He picked it up, though, that day.
No, he likes
okay.
OBSF.
Yeah.
He just likes the higher tiered Rick
Okay.
picks.
Gotcha.
And he was excited for that because it was like a T6 or 6T, whatever you want to call it.
Well, and so just to give you a little bit more information on Four Roses, their warehouses all hold 25 to 26,000 barrels.
Jesus.
They have 48 ricks on each side of a warehouse for a total of 192 ricks per house. Each rick holds 22 to 23 barrels. So you're not going to get, so T is what, 19?
Probably, I don't know.
Something
Sure,
like that.
Sounds good.
So you're not going to get much past like UVWX, right?
Yeah.
Or no, so Y and Z would be 4 or
26
25 and
Z.
26. So you're not going to get past U, it sounds like. So it would be, wait, I skipped a few. WX. So you're not going to get past X.
So T is one of the higher up?
No.
Okay.
That's position in the Rick.
Oh, gotcha.
Like horizontally.
Okay.
So the front one would be A, and the one at the end of the Rick would be
Gotcha.
X, I guess. WXYZ. No, you would never get to X either, would you? No. W would be the last one you would get to. That's 23. And then V would be the so it's either V or W to end each Rick. And that's length, I guess, or what, I don't know which axis you want to call that. The Z axis, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, that is depending on which way you're looking at it, too.
And then there are 6 vertical rows in a single Rick. So those are the tiers. So 1 through 6, that's the high. 6 is the highest you can get. And if you want to think about this in Buffalo Trace terms, 6 is, Buffalo Trace's top tiers are where you're getting your benchmark. And those types of things. Whereas the middle Ricks are where you're going to get your Buffalo Trace and your Eagle Rare, stuff like that. So Eagle Rare is 10 years old versus Buffalo Trace, which is I think 6 or 5 to 8 or something like that. So that's just how the Rick can affect things. The hotness of the alcohol, the actual visceral alcohol taste. Those are things that can happen. And then obviously if you put a barrel on the bottom floor only, it's going to take a little bit longer to mature, to get that oak influence into the barrel, because it's just not going to breathe as much in and out of the wood, because it's going to be more stable from a temperature or climate standpoint. Did you see, Tyler, that our barrel at Maker's Mark has officially been rotated?
That's
It's
cool.
on the bottom floor now.
I did not know that.
I checked it today when I was looking up some stuff.
That's a great point. Do you think that they spend an equal amount of time in a certain position?
At Maker's Mark?
Yes.
I believe there's a what do you call it, formula for it, but I think so, yes. Like, I think if it was on the top Rick, it'll go down to the bottom, or top tier. And if it was on the second, maybe it'll go up to the 5th, and third will go to the 4th. Like,
so it spends maybe a year on each floor?
No, they don't rotate them like that. That's how I thought originally, too. But when we went there, you weren't with me.
I don't remember this.
No, Chris was with me when we went for that pick for Bourbon Enthusiast. They explained it, and I was like, oh, I had no idea. I think they only rotate them once.
So ours could be a little bit more unique because it was spent a lot of time on the top and
But I don't
bottom.
know that when you get your bottles, if they actually are single barrels. I don't think they are.
What do you mean?
Oh, they're blended still.
I think they're still blended. So like whatever batch that your barrel gets put into is when you can come in and claim your bottles.
Probably.
I don't believe that it's a single barrel.
Because I've never seen a maker single barrel ever.
No, and they don't do that.
Yeah.
Their single barrel is, well, they do.
Yeah.
I mean, Private Select is a single barrel.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But that's their single barrel program.
Right.
And so makers brought that program into being.
You don't think the ambassador is part of that?
No. I'm almost positive it's a batch when you get it. You just get to go in there and you got your barrel. You got to go there. And once you do that, you get your golden ticket or whatever, which means you can come now for free tours and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. Once you pick up your bottles, however many you end up buying, you end up getting like a golden ticket or whatever.
I can't wait to go with you.
I know. That's going to be so fun. I'm because we started this journey together, and that'll be cool. Not that we're ending it with that, but you know what I mean. Like that'll be fun. I'm excited.
Let's just end the podcast right on that note.
Do it live.
Yep.
And we're out.
And last one, guys. We'll see you.
And we'll see. No, we won't. So what do we have next? We've got Russell's Reserve, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is again a pickup from Justin's House of Bourbon.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And this is Camp Nelson B, as in boy.
Correct. It was on floor 5, 10 years old.
Okay. And what is the so 10 years old? Nice. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
What is the proof on this one? 110.
110.
Yeah, which is all Russell.
I think all
Reserve
Russells are
single,
110. Yeah.
Which, you know what? I'm not exactly a fan of automatically deciding. Like I have the same problem with that with like Lux Row and their Distillers Collection and their cask strength. You know, and I get why they do it. Like the cask strength is they put it at the what do you call it? The proof that it gets barreled. That's their barrel proof. So they make sure they proof it back down to that. So which is interesting because that means the cask strengths had to probably go up in proof for them to be able to become cask strength. Yeah. So that's interesting as well.
I really like this one. It opened up a lot.
Did it? So you got past the Hyman pour, and now
I did.
So if you're listening, if you listened last week, we are really pushing this Hyman pour. If you post on other things,
you heard it here first, folks.
If you post on other things, hashtag Hyman pour. Let's push it. Let's really
spell Hyman pour.
HYMAN pour, and not your type of pour, but with a U. POUR Hyman pour. Let's make a thing of it. Every time you open a fresh bottle,
talk about the Hyman.
Let's hashtag Hyman pour. Let's do it seriously.
Honey, I cracked the Hyman on another one.
I'm going to start following the Hyman pour. So, just so you guys know, we did make a decision on our inclusion of the Bourbon Blitz competition, and the winner by far was Soggy Toast. So I'm going to announce that right now. I read that to you last week, you and Jason.
Yeah.
Crazy stupid
story.
Email.
Crazy. You don't know this gentleman at all.
No, I don't. So, but we're including
that's awesome.
This person on the trip. So, all right. So this is the winning email. First off, I'm going to say you were immediately eliminated if you were a wife of anyone going this year. Because we don't want that smoke.
We don't want any wives.
We don't want that smoke.
Yeah.
Like, we can't go to our wives and say, oh, hey, we're going on our guys' trip, and then now a wife of one of the people is going, because then we have to start answering questions.
Yeah, Josh is enough of a female that...
Right. He is the female of the group, and I'm fine with that, and he's fine with that. He
needs his food.
Right.
He gets in car accidents. He's late. He's late.
Car accidents.
Yes, he's late.
That's pretty good.
He's probably the only one in the group that actually does his hair.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be... And his socks were definitely
he's got some sass to him.
He does. He definitely has some sass. So while you're nosing this, we'll come back to this Russell's Reserve after this email message. So here's the email that we selected as the winner. It's long, like Brett. So let's just listen in because it's going to take a second. Ahoy there, you adventurous souls with a taste for the finer things in life. Allow me to throw my hat and a few bourbon-soaked almonds into the ring for the prestigious Bourbon Blitz alongside the illustrious Bourbon Hunters. But hold on to your hats, because I'm about to unleash a tidal wave of reasons why I should be your partner in this spirited escapade. complete with more laughs and chuckles than a barrel full of comedians. Now let's address the elephant, or rather the bourbon barrel in the room. My schnoz is more finely tuned than a jazz saxophonist's ears, and my taste buds are so refined they once identified the secret ingredient in Grandma's apple pie, a splash of bourbon. Rumor has it that distilleries have consulted me to make sure their barrels are up to snuff, or should I say, up to sniffer. My extraordinary ability to track down bourbon scents is like having a GPS powered by pure grain spirit. Watch in awe as I lead the Bourbon Hunters on a merry chase through forests, fields, and maybe even a haunted bourbon library or two, all while gleefully tracking down the elusive aroma of bourbon. Now, while some folks might argue that knowing north from south or reciting bourbon's genealogy is essential, I propose something even better. My unparalleled gift for bonding with woodland creatures. Forget about compasses. I've got Sir Sippington, my trusty squirrel sidekick, who navigates us through the wilderness while offering insightful commentary on the subtleties of barrel toasting. And who could ignore Gerald the gregarious gopher regaling us with bourbon tales as we trundle through the backwoods like tipsy pioneers? But wait, there's more. As we inevitably stumble into the hilarious escapades, I'm armed with a joke for every twist and turn. Lost in the heart of Bourbon County? No worries. I've got the Ballad of the Bourbon Barrel ready to roll, complete with dance moves that could only be described as a tipsy tango with a tumbleweed. It's the Bourbon Boogie, and trust me, distillery tours have to post signs warning of sudden outbreaks. Our uproarious laughter will likely draw curious locals who just might spill the beans about the elusive hidden distillery we're hunting. And let's not forget about the wisdom I'm dishing out. Survival skills? Nah. I'll just sweet talk the locals with tales of heroic showdowns with squirrels and gophers. My tales of triumph over adversity, a.k.a. convincing the park ranger to let us camp in the top secret bourbon orchard, will inspire the Bourbon Hunters. They'll learn that a sense of humor combined with a hefty supply of squirrel snacks is the real recipe for success. Then there's a closing, which I'm not going to read, but...
Do you think that whoever this gentleman is, Chat GPT, like AI, generated this, or they did it themselves, or hybrid?
Knowing the just way that Chat GPT works, it's possible, but I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think this person actually spent some serious time really, really sitting in front of their laptop or computer, keyboard, not working, just to write this. So... And that's all in the spirit of our trip. So,
well,
congratulations, Soggy Toast. I'm not going to announce your name, even though I know who it is now after I've followed up. And they have accepted the adventure, and they will be coming with us. So, all right, Russell's Reserve, Camp Nelson B, 110
Great
proof.
nose.
The nose is sweet for me, really, really sweet, like almost like a confectioner sugar.
I'm still getting the same taste profile that I got initially.
Well, that's good. Although you said after the Hyman pour it opened
It had
up.
changed, yeah. The mouthfeel for sure opened up.
Holy fuck.
You really like that, huh? Is that a holy fuck I like it?
Yeah.
Okay. You mad that you didn't get one of these for yourself?
No, because I already spent a lot of money at this point in time.
I don't feel like you had yet.
Yeah, I'd already spent $230 at this point.
Why do I feel like this was...
You drank the Four Roses.
I did. I was like, this is what I've already had. This doesn't taste...
You Dumbo.
Take a drink of water.
I'm going to, but I was just checking the nose. I was just checking the specs on the inline for the rotary... I'm tired. All right. Let's reset this whole thing. Recalibrate. All right. Oh, yeah, that smells more like Russell's. I was really confused because I'd never really gotten confectionery sugar like that on a Russell's.
Minty Russells.
Yeah, and I didn't get mint on the nose. As soon as I tasted it, I'm like, this tastes like the... I was like, and it's almost empty already. Yeah, this is a good nose. A little bit of nut, like a dusty, the dusty nut type of flavor on the nose. Oh, man. I don't want to say peanut brittle. It's more of a dusty, like nutshell. Like a nutshell, kind of like that.
Like the shell. Yeah, yeah. I get something...
Oh, wow.
Unique.
Man. Good mouthfeel immediately. Not that the other ones didn't have this one, but this one has a little bit more of an oily kind of... sticks to your tongue a little bit more.
Yes.
Yeah, just like that, Tyler.
It reminds me of cherry cola for some reason.
Cherry
Yeah,
cola.
I could see that.
2 liter of it.
All right, Farva.
By the way, speaking of that,
Yeah. Ooh.
it's really
Does it taste like
good.
cherry cola to you?
Middle of the tongue. There's definitely like a cherry influence, and then it's almost like the rye spice mixed with that cherry influence makes it taste like a cherry cola. So,
I fucking love it.
yeah, it's good.
I think it's great.
Really good.
Yeah. I'm happy that I got it.
Has a root beer float.
Isn't there like a cola, like a soda cola, whatever the fuck you want to call it?
I'm thinking, like, honestly, like maybe root beer, but I get more the cherry. I feel like that cherry mixed with the rye spice, because it's a heavy rye spice on this.
Yeah.
That I think those two together is what's making it feel like a cherry cola. I think the rye spice is almost coming off like carbonation or something.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Isn't it strange? Like it's very good. It's unique.
I get cherry cola on things once in a while from
Do
bourbon.
you?
Yeah, every once in a while.
We
But-
seem to get it a decent amount. Like,
Yeah.
Just
This
whenever you get that.
Immediately for me, that's
Yeah.
what it was.
I think it's the combination of where the flavors are hitting you on the tongue that makes it feel that way. Because I feel like I'm getting the rye spice on the middle tongue along with the cherry. Normally, I don't feel like I get those two at the same time. And I think that's why it makes it taste like cherry cola.
Yeah.
Because normally I get like a dark cherry on the middle tongue and then a rye spice on the back of the tongue. And it's like two separate
It almost
tastes.
feels fizzy on your tongue.
Yeah,
even
that's
though
what
it's
I
not.
mean.
Yeah,
I think it's
strange.
I think it's the rye and the cherry
Yeah.
hitting at the same spot on the tongue.
Yeah.
Which
Must
doesn't
be.
normally happen.
I like it.
It's very good. It's
Yeah,
very
I like
good.
it. That's what Jason and I were talking about, and all of us actually last week, is that, and it was because he brought that that high end Russells that I'm drawing a blank on right now. Because
Oh, the
Single Rick House?
single Rick House.
single
CNF.
Rick House, yes. Some of the Russell's Reserve single barrels are almost as good as some of those like exclusive
Oh, yeah.
releases that they do. When this is a $100 bottle and those are like a $300 bottle. Is it really worth, or it might even been a $400
I
bottle?
didn't know that the Masters Keep collection this year was like $275 for them as well.
Well, it was $225 when we were there, and I bought yours.
Yeah.
That one, Masters Keep one.
That's
But
it's
it's
start-
good. It was so good. Though.
it's
is.
good, but it's starting to get in. Well, I
Yes.
will say the
inflation's happening too, though. So,
Yes.
like, I mean, it affects everything.
that's one of the things that I thought about the other day. That I'm very surprised that some of the prices have not gone up more. They're going up on
Well,
specialty
here's
stuff, but they're
the
not
thing.
going up on other things.
We need to get Ronald Rankin on here. He follows all these forums and all these secondary sites and stuff.
Yeah.
He swears that we are in the midst of the beginning of the bubble bursting.
Yeah.
He says he's seen things actually like and if it is happening, but he says he's seen a lot of things go down in price on secondary.
Sure.
But if it is indeed happening, then I think it's because of things like the single Rick House and like Master's Keep and Generations and all these different things they're doing. Like it used to be, okay, this company released 2 LTOs a year, limited time offerings, and now they release 10.
Sure.
And so, like, okay,
And they're all $200.
and they're all over. Yeah, exactly. So for them all to end up over $500-$600 on secondary is just absurd, and it's just not going to sustain.
And you can only, I mean, wealthy people will continue to buy them, but still there's a point where, like, you can only buy so many of them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you only have so much expendable money to do that.
And it's not even that you can't just keep buying them. It's just it'll be at the expense of your regular everyday drinkers.
Yeah.
So then you're going to get to a point where all you're drinking is just if you're drinking it and not just
Well,
trying to flip it. And I think that's the thing we're going to see help us turn the tide on that nonsense is when these flippers keep buying all this stuff and then they're not getting their return anymore.
Yeah.
Then it's going to slow down. They're going to start, well, it's not really worth me driving 3 hours to go to Ohio to get this at MSRP just to turn around and flip it for an extra $15.
Yeah.
Right.
So like when that starts happening is when it's really going to go back down to normal and we'll be able to start getting things. But here's the thing. in addition to that, you've got places like Wild Turkey and Buffalo Trace and all these places, Heaven Hill, increasing their production.
Yes.
Yes, it's going to saturate.
So not only that, a couple of things could potentially happen with that. We might start getting more ultra-aged product because they can sit and hold it for years if they want to.
Yeah.
And then, 10 years from now, we might start seeing this crazy amount of ultra-aged stuff, or, everything like Blanton's might start going back to 8-year-olds instead of 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds or whatever.
Sure.
So maybe that'll be good for it, but it maybe, and just maybe, it'll also saturate because there'll be plenty of bourbon out there.
Yeah.
You won't have to chase down.
Well, I think of my I don't know if myself is an example of everyone, but I'm at 120 bottles and I've slowed my purchasing down way more, and I'm
Same.
very selective. It's
too.
either limited time releases or there are Four Roses or Russell's Reserves, and that's
and barrel picks in general,
and
stuff like
barrel
that.
picks.
Yeah.
They're not. I'm not going out and just being like, oh, this is
Speaking of
there's an
which.
Angel's Envy. Let me grab one.
The
Same.
Wild Turkey picks that I went on with Jason, they're in. All 4.
Nice, yeah. I
Coming
know.
out- coming
I'm going
out
to try
soon.
and get those.
Me too.
soon.
And I'm unemployed, but I'm
Yeah.
getting them.
Nice.
So where we're going to stay.
Just in time for our trip.
Right, I know, and it always happens. It happened last year too. Remember,
Yeah.
like Bourbon Enthusiast released a whole bunch of stuff right before our trip. I was like, "Come on!"
Yeah.
And then same thing with Jason. I think all those what were they called? Lux Row picks that we had done all came at the same time.
Sure.
Right before our trip last year, like the Rebels and the Ezras all
Yeah,
came
I
right,
remember that.
and it was like 2 of each. And they were a week apart on picks, and they were a week apart on releases
Yeah.
to the retailers. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And I was on both of them, and I was like, well, I got to buy them both.
Yep.
So, but I will say, these Russell picks, I'm not kidding. And it might have been the atmosphere, the fact that we were sitting there doing these picks with Bruce Russell. And, that we had seen Jimmy inside and hung out with Bo Garrett and stuff.
He told me about that.
Yeah.
When I ran into him, he was like, "Yeah, the last time you guys were in line at Buffalo Trace and apparently left to go over and see Jimmy." Right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
But no, and I'll tell you, it was such a fun experience. And that place that we stayed, that Airbnb we stayed, the Stepson or Swepson or whatever it's called, that's where we're going to stay this trip.
Very cool.
And it's a pretty nice place.
Nice.
There's 3 floors to it. I don't know which floor. I think we're getting the bottom floor, which is the
Both
one.
nights.
Yeah, both
Okay.
nights.
Nice.
So we're going to work our way from Frankfurt over toward Louisville, through Bardstown, and then spend our second day in Louisville. I think we may be doing a new Lou pick on Saturday. He's trying to pull that.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool. And that's New Lou's a fun place to do a pick.
Anyway, Old Forester will let us do ours
No.
a little sooner.
No, he doesn't have that kind of pool.
Sure.
Plus, we don't even have a.
Yeah, we don't.
If we would have done it a month ago when I sent out the thing, then sure.
Maybe.
But because maybe there would be a chance. But he's already told us it's next year.
Yeah.
So, and that was a month or 2 ago. So now it's probably May or June of next year.
Yeah.
Because we just. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, that being said, what do you guys think of this Russells? Which one do you like better? I'm sure you like the
I like
you
the-
like
I
the
like the
Russells better
Russells
too.
better,
Really?
yeah.
Okay. I mean, I think I do too. And to be
I'm
honest,
gonna go back to them.
but I think it's the OBSF that makes it that way for me.
Yeah.
I think any other Four Roses, I love all the Four Roses.
Yeah.
But the F is my least favorite in both
even
high and
like
low.
that being the least favorite, like fuck.
Yeah, no, it's
And
good.
I like
It's
mint.
good.
Like I like mint ice cream
I
and all that stuff.
I don't
so-
dislike mint outside of ice cream and desserts. I like it in my bourbon. It's just my least favorite of all the Four Roses. That's
Yeah.
all. Yeah, this Russell's is really good.
Yeah. Let's do the
Old Elk.
Old Elk.
All right, that's
Pour
all we
it
got
out.
left, right?
Pour it out.
Yeah, let's do it. So this was sent to us. I got an email, I don't know, probably a month ago from Old Elk asking if my mailing address was still valid and everything. And I was like, sure is, yes.
Were you like,
But I was sitting there wondering, I was like, well, when's it coming? It's been a while now. And then it finally came today, and it was perfect timing because we have give me some glasses, guys.
Sorry.
I'm
like falling asleep over here. I'm so sorry. I'm going to go in just a minute.
Nah, you've had a week, man. I'll tell you.
It's going to be.
Have you?
I won't talk about work on the air, but it's been rough for me.
Yeah.
I've been home for like 20 minutes today.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been like that every day this week.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you find this. You consider this place home. I appreciate it.
I thought, there was the other day where you got. Oh, it was when I dropped the bottle off to you. You literally got home at 7:00 at night.
I've been working 10s and 12s.
Do you want me to do you guys want more of this?
No, I personally don't.
Yeah,
okay. I'll just save it. All right.
Yeah. Plus,
take that one. That's got more in it.
You can't be a supervisor.
All right. Before we dive into personal stuff, this is the Cigar Cut Island Blend.
Ooh.
So it's finished in port, Sauternes, sherry, and rum barrels. So this has 4 finished barrels. Now I don't know if that means it was 1 barrel of port blended with one that was finished in Sauternes, one that was blended in, and then they blend them all together,
yes.
or if they took the entire batch through
Just
all
go
4. I can't imagine they did because I think that would end up with way too much wood influence. So I imagine they did 4. I imagine they did 4 like each one was finished in one thing. Probably like, if I had to guess, it would probably be more like what they do for what's the blood oath.
Oh, blood oath. Yeah.
Only one of those is finished usually, but they're all separate, blended together, and one of those blended together is finished.
Yeah.
I think each one of these probably is blended, and they've only been finished in one thing and then blended later. But anyway, it's that's my guess. I know nothing. There's an actual thing in front of me. I could probably look it up, but I haven't. It just came today. So this is proof of 111.7. So we're right around the same proof we've been all evening,
which is good.
Yeah, 55.85% alcohol. And it's got the Greg Metz signature on the side.
Stamp of approval.
I don't know if it's a stamp of approval, but it's his signature. So it's his signature. We'll go with that at least. All right. It sounded like Tyler already had a sip of this. So I'm going to smell it. What do you guys get on the nose?
I mean, you definitely get quite a bit of spice on the nose. But you're
like
also, you get all there's a lot going on.
In what way? Just very complex, a lot of flavors happening.
A lot of flavors going on.
The nose is good.
Yeah, the nose is good.
There's
a lot of notes there.
Yet. Yeah.
That's what she said.
So you've tasted it. You haven't tasted it yet? You're still nosing?
I haven't tasted it. My nose feels overwhelmed right now, and I think my allergies are bothering me too.
Yeah.
So I'm a little stuffy.
I mean, it definitely, to me, comes off like a cigar blend, like a... All right.
I get some pops.
Oh, wow. You're right. There's a lot going on. So immediately you get something right on the...
The finish is so incredibly long. Like, the
finish is the best part of this whole thing.
Yes. And it sticks, like it drips down the back of your throat for a long time.
I think minus the sexual innuendos, the thing that disappoints me the most is the initial flavor on the tongue. And then as it progresses through your mouth to the back of the tongue and on the finish, it gets better and better. But the initial tongue the initial flavor at the front of the tongue is not good to me. It's very drying. The Sauternes or whatever. I think that's what I'm getting on this. Is and it may be sherry, but I don't think so. I think it's the Sauternes or whatever.
It is very dry and.
But I get the rum
muted,
on the back of the throat.
But once it goes to the back, you're like, this is great.
No, I'm getting a lot of that dryness too.
But it kind of, as it travels across your tongue, goes away, right? Like it's an immediate drying, and then it kind of almost like goes away, and undoes itself. I feel like.
So, and this might be my ignorance, is a cigar blend meant to be enjoyed with a cigar, like truly?
I think that's the idea, but it also is generally an indication of finishing in multiple barrels.
Okay, because I'm not a cigar drinker, so maybe that's why I don't love it.
I've never drank a cigar, so.
I mean, I knew people that would eat cigar, chew on cigars. I worked for a farmer back in the day that wouldn't smoke cigars, but he would just chew on them.
Yeah.
Almost like chewing tobacco.
Never light them, just kind of.
It's like loose leaf tobacco almost.
Well, isn't that is it Predator? Isn't that what Arnold does throughout the movie of Predator? He just or is it Commando?
It might have been Commando that does it.
But he has the unlit cigar in his mouth pretty much the whole movie.
Yeah, I worked. His name was Red. Ironically, I feel like that's a traditional farmer name, but
it's also a tobacco.
Well, that's Redmond.
Yeah. All right, so Tyler, what do you think? You like or dislike this?
I do. It's not.
He said,
"Do you do what?"
I do. I do like it.
Okay.
Do you like it?
Well, you
I
said,
"Do you like it or dislike?"
not?
And you said, "I do." You could say, "I do dislike it." I do like it. So
who would say I do? I do dislike it.
If I said, "Do you dislike it?" I do. And
That's
I said,
very Ohioan. I would just say I don't.
Oh my God, this guy!
Don't.
Should we cancel JD's invitation?
Do you like this hat?
Two Michiganders on
I do not like your hat.
Hey, do you dislike the hat? If I said yes, what would that mean to you?
But you gave me an either or.
Right, and you said.
Do you or
you said an
don't you?
affirmative to two questions.
I hate. So that's one of my pet peeves.
I'm gonna get a bunch of texts saying you're right.
Yes, from Michigan people.
No,
that's what I'm saying. Should we uninvite JD? Can we handle two Michiganders on the fucking trip?
Oh my God.
I have this pet peeve where I say two different things. Like, do you want to go to McDonald's or Burger King? People are like, yes.
Yeah, I know.
Like, which fucking one is it? I said two things.
Right.
And maybe it's because I'm too literal.
Oh God, it's so frustrating. No, I'm with you, but Tyler's the same way.
I'm not that way.
Tyler is the bane of our frustration. I'd say that I live a pretty laid back, unstressed out life, and then for whatever reason, my stress goes from like a 2 to like a 9 whenever Tyler's around.
or I'm texting you on Saturday when OSU is playing.
Oh, I don't even care about that. I generally like to just get you fucking wound up because I know how much you hate OSU. So I'll send you text that just I know is going to I'll say stuff. I'll say stuff to you that's just definitive to make it be like, well, if you have another opinion, you're an idiot.
If you were to talk shit about MSU, I'd be like, you're right. But if you want to if we'll argue about OSU, then I'll argue all day about it.
Urban's
going to be the next coach.
I don't think he will be. Okay. Honestly, though, if you had to rate most Ohio State fans, Brett doesn't count because he doesn't really get verbal about anything. I'm pretty even-keeled. I can point out when shit is bad decisions. I can point out when we actually got the right call against us. I'm generally even for most Ohio State fans. There's a caveat there. I'm not saying I'm not biased because I'm biased.
Yeah.
But I think for most, when I listen to other Ohio State, I'm on another thread with all Ohio State grads.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no, you guys are idiots. That was a good call. That was definitely pass interference on us, or that was definitely,
For the most part, I will say that it's sometimes you're this way, sometimes you're not. But Ohio State. I've never had an Ohio State fan almost ever to say we just got our fucking ass kicked. It's usually like we lost, but we were
I will
really
say
like
the Alabama national championship when who was the receiver that was up for the Heisman from Alabama that just we put a linebacker on him. I'm like, what the hell are we doing here?
Yeah. I'm sure it
was.
But
that was like 50-24 or something like that. I'll tell you, that's the first. But here's the thing about Ohio State: they're generally in every game.
Yeah, but there's a
even the Michigan game last year that looks. If you just look at the score, it looks like it was a blowout, but it was a one-score game until the last 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, but you made one of the points you made this weekend. You were like, what'd you say? You were like McCord. If
it was Brown, by the way.
No, it was McCord that you were talking about. You're like if
inaccurate.
He's inaccurate, and if he was there, we
would have won that game by 20 points easily.
But that's part of it. Like
that's a huge part of it.
Like I could say,
but here's the difference.
I could say as an MSU fan, like, hey, if we didn't suck, we'd be a lot better. Like,
obviously, but when I'm pointing that out to you, shouldn't that tell you that I think we're a pretty complete team if he can hit his passes?
Yes, but that's a huge.
But
part
at
of
Ohio
it.
State, is it? Shouldn't that be when's the last quarterback you can think of from us that wasn't more accurate than they weren't?
Yeah.
Every one of our quarterbacks, they had bad throws, errant throws here and there. Who hasn't?
He's probably the worst
Stroud,
so far.
Fields, I'm forgetting
Krenzel. I'm just throwing it.
Even him. He was actually pretty damn accurate.
Yeah.
He just didn't. He was not
Except for
very.
the championship, he fucking sucked, but they somehow won.
No, he did all right. He actually was our leading rusher in that game.
Yeah, but he sucked at throwing. He was pretty bad.
He was a game manager. That's what he was known for. You know, he was not known for his passing.
So I definitely get that point where you're saying,
when you come to expect a certain performance level at a certain institution, Alabama's one, USC would be one, I would think. Caleb Williams in the last 2 games, he's thrown like 6 interceptions or something, 5 interceptions, something like that. Or he's turned the ball over like 5 times.
But my point here is McCord. He's been hit or miss here. He's been hit or miss.
And the
but
one
he's
thing
got
I'll
some
say,
absolute all-stars.
Yes,
receivers.
and he's thrown some amazing passes this year that I'm like, holy shit, okay.
It's not like
then he's
Stroud
had some
having
misses.
an off game.
No,
where you're like, wow.
Stroud having an off game was still more accurate than McCord was.
Yes,
for example.
So if you maybe last year, if you made that point, if Stroud would have been Stroud, then we were. But McCord being inaccurate is more par for the course so far.
Well, he's only got 1 interception this whole season.
Yeah, he doesn't turn the ball over,
and that's the thing. So I feel like he's
Brown
almost
does. that kid should never see the field again.
That play where I think he broke his ankle. I haven't heard a report yet. I think he broke his ankle.
Oh yeah,
it was disgusting. I think he scored a touchdown there. He was laying on the Penn State guy, then leaned back, went over the goal line. They never reviewed it.
Yeah, I didn't.
And another example. This was epidemic all weekend. I feel like.
I'm probably gonna have to peace out. Sorry.
Give me 2 minutes and we'll finish.
Okay.
Because we're done, right?
Yeah.
I just need to.
If you look, so Houston versus Texas, okay. Houston ties the game. I don't remember the exact score, so I'm making the scores up. But I think they tied the game at like 24 each with a field goal with like 8 minutes to go in the game. Texas goes right down the field in 2 minutes, scores a touchdown, takes a 7-point lead.
Yeah.
5 minutes to go in the game. Houston has the ball back. They work their way down the field, not as quickly as Texas did. They get to a 3rd and 3 on the 12-yard line. They had to get to the 9 for a first down.
Sure.
They get to the 8.5-yard line. Obviously a first down. The ball gets set. Another referee comes in, moves the ball back a yard. Now it's 4th and a half yard.
And they didn't.
The announcers are like, he obviously got the first down on forward progress. They showed the replay probably 5-6 times. Yeah. He obviously got over the 9, which is what he had to get for the first down. He got to the 8.5-yard line. The ball's marked at like the 9.5.
Yeah.
And so they're at the 9-yard line going in. Now they have 4th and goal instead of 1st and goal.
Yeah.
4th and 1 instead of 1st and goal.
Yeah.
Huge difference. Next play, they don't even review it. Next play, they roll out and throw an incomplete pass. Game's over. And I'm like, what the hell's going on in college football? Like, that should have been reviewed.
I finally saw the Iowa fair catch.
Yeah, and that's the right call. They made the right call.
You think?
By rule, it's 100% the right call. You cannot wave your arms around at all. You can't do that. That's why if you ever watch a punt, what do the punt receivers do when it's something they're trying to tell everyone? They don't do this. They point and then they yell like poison or whatever their word is.
But that's what he did. He
was
like
waving
this.
his arms, both of them.
He went like this.
It
I'll
doesn't
show you
matter.
the clip, and he goes,
I've seen
get
the clip
away,
a million
get away.
times. It doesn't matter. You cannot wave your arm at all. It's called an invalid signal.
I understand that. It's just a very poor, very, very poor. Because
no, the reason they do this, and they broke it down on ESPN really well, the reason they do this is a gunner running down the field isn't making eye contact with the guy receiving the ball. So out of the periphery, if they see his arms going like this, they think he's calling a fair catch. So they let up. So immediately when the guy touches the ball, by rule, it's a dead ball. You cannot do that. It's called an invalid signal. Even though you're not going over your head. If
was
you're
there a penalty?
There's no penalty. It's just immediately a dead ball.
Why
not
wasn't there a penalty for being tackled?
Because it's not a valid fair catch.
So
if you try to progress a valid fair catch signal, that's a penalty. If you try to progress an invalid fair catch, it's just a dead ball. You know what I'm saying? So he wasn't trying to call for a fair catch. The referees are admitting that. But by rule, it's a dead ball. It's a dead ball. You can't do it. It was the correct call.
Did they whistle it dead right away?
I don't know. That I don't know. Because I never saw it live.
Someone said that they were reviewing if he was out of bounds and went back and said, oh, by the way, because of this, it's dead here.
I don't know what's reviewable and what's not. For example, there was a play in the I know it's college versus pro, but there was a play in the Cleveland Browns game. Remember I mentioned it in our thread? I was like, I didn't know that was reviewable. There was something that was reviewed, and I was just like, huh? And it was like, I didn't think that was a reviewable thing. It was like a penalty that they reviewed. I'm like, it wasn't like a targeting.
There are some penalties.
But like things like that, it just blew me away because it wasn't targeting. It was something like that kind of surprised me. But anyway.
All right, Brett.
So
go to sleep.
Yeah,
we think all of us Russells on this one.
Yeah,
for me.
And then Four Roses probably yours.
Yeah, agree.
Okay.
But I still think that's a good.
The Old Elk's not bad either.
Yeah.
It's just different. Yeah. It's a cigar. It's a finish.
It's a dessert.
And we had some weird blends of, like, you know what I mean, like.
Yeah. No, I mean it's just completely different. That's something that should have probably had its own episode.
Yeah.
And then maybe even light up a cigar with it or something just to see what. But yeah, I would agree. It was probably my least favorite of the night, but it was still really good. It had a lot going on. So. Yep. All right, guys, we'll join in again next week, and congratulations to Soggy Toast for winning the Bourbon Blitz invitation. And next week we'll get back on more of a themed version of the episodes, but we wanted everyone to catch up with Tyler and Brett. So thanks for joining in. Talk to you next week. Thank you for joining us on yet another hunt for great bourbon. Please give us a 5-star review anywhere you are listening. But if you can't, leave some constructive criticism in the review so that we can get better at improving our show. Good reviews help us bring better guests on for your listening pleasure, not mine. But until then, sit back, grab a pour, kick up your feet, and enjoy some bourbon.